Indecision is not a personality trait. I need you to hear that. It's not who you are. It's not some fixed part of your character that you were born with and will carry forever. It's a symptom. And like every symptom, it has a root cause. As a life alignment coach, entrepreneur for 2 decades, I work with hundreds of high achieving women, women who are brilliant, they're capable, they're driven, they even somewhat know what they want. They've built real things, led real teams, and have had real impact. And so many of them come to me living in their own heads, circling the same decisions, researching the same questions, and asking the same people for the same opinions, and still not moving. Not because they don't know what to do, although they're telling themselves that, but because they don't trust themselves to do it. And that's a very different problem. So today, I want to talk about 3 things that shift when you get aligned. 3 tangible, specific, shows up in your real life results that I see in my clients consistently. Your decision-making identity, your relationship with time, and how you show up in your business. These three things are connected. They move together, and when they shift, everything shifts. So let's dive right in. Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this. So let me start with decisions, because if you come into a clarity call with me, this is the very first thing I'm going to tell you is that my number one job is to help you make a decision. Because this is what I have seen over and over and over again. And honestly, it used to be something that I said to myself, like if there was one thing that I would change about me or improve about me, it would be my ability to make a decision. And then I realized like that is just not a thought that I need to entertain anymore if I want to be a better decision maker. So it's an important thing to be able to make a decision. Now, some of you are listening to this and you're like, I have zero problems making decisions. Then this episode's not for you. But you might be the friend on the other end of someone who struggles with making decisions. But I do know this is where so many women are quietly losing hours of their lives every single week. I can remember getting coaching from my coach, and I was in indecision about price. And she said something so bold and so business changing. She said, Martine, you're not making money and you're not helping people. And I was like, she's not wrong, right? The land of indecision that I was in on pricing my coaching when I first started, I wasn't making any money, or, I wasn't making a lot of money, and I wasn't helping people because I was on the fence. I was in the land of indecision. So I just want to share that with you because I understand, and I also understand the real impact of you being in the land of indecision. And sometimes it's not in big dramatic ways. It's just small, relentless ones, right? Like the small, relentless decisions that you haven't made that are like quietly taking so much time out of every single week. And it's quietly draining your energy too, because most of you and I, our fatigue and exhaustion comes from our mental load. It's not coming from the physical load. You're thinking about what to post. You're deciding on whether to launch. You're deciding how to price it, whether to say yes to that opportunity or no to that request, whether to send the email or wait, whether the idea is good enough or whether, you should just keep thinking about it for a little longer. Pray about it a little bit longer. And then there's the second guessing after the decision is made, right? Have you experienced this? Like, did I do the right thing? What if I got it wrong? Maybe I should have asked one more person. And that cycling and that circling and spending, the researching, the asking, the second guessing, it's not a time management problem. It's a self-trust problem. It's not, I don't have enough information. Now, when we coach together, we are definitely going to illuminate for you what your decision making style is. So, you know, are you more of an intuitive decision maker and you're going to lean into trusting your gut and what you're feeling and like all of your intuition? Or are you a facts based decision maker where you do need more facts to make the decision? But either way, if you have a self-trust problem and you're not trusting that you're going to have your own back, this is part of it. So here's what I've observed in my own life and the women that I've coached, that women who struggle with chronic indecision are almost always women who have lost that trust in their own judgment somewhere along the way. Somewhere along the way, you made a decision and it didn't work out the way you thought it was. Somewhere along the way, you made a decision and maybe you didn't get the result at all on any level. And so you stop trusting your own judgment. Maybe you made a decision that didn't work out, and now you're like protecting yourself from that happening again. Maybe you've been told directly or indirectly that your instincts aren't reliable. How can you trust your gut? Especially if someone's a facts-based decision maker and you're intuitive, they're going to be like, you can't trust that. But you can actually, because that's how you're wired. Maybe you've spent so long adapting to everyone else's needs that you generally just don't know what you think anymore. You don't know what you want anymore. And so when it comes down to deciding what you want, it's been so long since you've thought about it, you just don't know. So whatever the root is, the result is the same. The decision doesn't get made. Or it gets made slowly, painfully, with an enormous amount of mental energy that should have gone somewhere else, that could have gone somewhere else. So when you get aligned, things start to change in this area. When you understand your natural wiring, your natural strengths, your decision-making style, how you're actually designed to process information, what your real values are, what genuinely matters to you in this decision, you develop a filter. You have a decision-making criteria, and that changes everything. Instead of like weighing every decision against every possible outcome for every possible person, you ask, does this align with who I am and what I'm building? Yes or no? I'm going through the same process right now in a decision that I need to make. And I'm very much an intuitive decision maker. And I'm asking myself, what does my business need right now? What support does it need? What do I need right now? And that's the filter. That's it. And one of my clients told me that she used to spend days, sometimes weeks, making business decisions that now take her maybe a few minutes. Not because she stopped caring about getting it right, but because she finally had a clear enough sense of who she was, how she processes making decisions, and what she wanted. And then that answer just became obvious faster, right? And each time you make a decision, you start building that trust again, especially when you say you're going to do something and you do it when you said you were going to do it. That helps to build some of that self-trust too when these decisions start coming up. So it's really uncomfortable to live in that land of indecision. And one of the things that she said was, I stopped asking everyone else what they thought and started asking myself. Try that on this week. Stop asking everyone else what they think and start asking yourself what you think about it. And trust the answer, right? Like, it's really interesting when you're in that position of lack of self-trust, how much we depend on other people. But here's the thing, other people don't know all the situation. They don't know all the feelings and the emotions that you might have in that moment. They're not you and they're not in your head. So sometimes part of getting out of the land of indecision when you're getting back into alignment is learning to hear your own voice And I was in some peer coaching today, and one of the ladies was saying that, like, I feel like I just need to stop hearing what everyone else is saying and find my voice and listen to what, some of my own ideas. And there are seasons where I shut down all consuming for that reason when I want to make the decision and I want it to come from a really clean place for the business that I'm trying to build. Hey friend, let's talk. It's time to book your clarity call. We are going to spend 1 full hour focused on you. A clarity call isn't about pressure. It's about possibilities. It's about you. You having a space to talk through what's on your heart and mind, you walking away with a clear vision and practical next steps, and you feeling confident in what's next and how to get there. You don't need to have it all figured out. That's my job. All you need to do is show up and we'll figure it out together. This is the best hour you can invest in yourself right now. Not in 6 months from now, not next month, right now. And don't just take my word for it. Here's what one of my coaching clients had to say after working together.
Working with Martine was truly a game changer for both my life and my business. She challenged me to step outside of my comfort zone and helped me clearly identify the areas where I was feeling the most resistance, and then guided me in creating solutions that actually fit my personality and my working style. What I appreciate most is how genuine and grounded she is in every conversation, and how naturally she blends life and business guidance together. As a female business owner, a mom, and now a dear friend, I deeply value the time, care, and energy she invested in me during our weekly sessions. Ending each week with clarity, momentum, and a reset mindset was incredibly powerful. The lessons and perspective I gained will stay with me for years to come. And I'm excited to see how my business continues to grow because of her support and direction. I'm so grateful for her coaching, encouragement, and the steady presence through one of the most challenging seasons of my business. As a sole provider for our family, signing up for coaching with Martine was one of the best investments I've ever made for both myself and for my business.
That transformation, it starts with one conversation. It's time to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress. So head right now to martinewilliams.com or in the show notes and grab your private clarity call spot on my calendar before they're gone. And since I personally monitor my inbox, if you don't see a time slot that fits your calendar, just send me an email at martine@martinewilliams.com with free times that do work, and I will make it work for you. All right, friend, let's get back to the show. So that is the decision-making identity shift from a woman who waits until she feels ready, because you've heard me say before, ready isn't a feeling you feel, it's a decision that you make. And so you shift from waiting to feel ready to a woman who decides to be ready, a woman who decides to have her back, a woman who grows into that self-concept and knows in order for me to be successful as an entrepreneur, I need to be a woman who can make decisions and make them quickly, not impulsively, but to make them quickly so I don't waste time and energy in the lane of indecision. So you're going to shift from a woman who needs consensus to a woman who needs clarity, a woman who second guesses to a woman who decides and moves. Like just that, if you could just learn that, to be a woman who decides and moves, how would that impact your life? How would that impact the results in your business? How would that impact the results in your health goals? How would that make a difference in your relationships that you decide and then you move? That is the identity that is available to you. And it's not reserved for like a certain type of woman. It's built. It's built through self-knowledge. It's built through practice, through having someone in your corner who helps you rebuild trust in yourself, one decision at a time. And when it becomes yours, the hours you reclaim are staggering. Like, I just want you to think about how much time right now that you have spent thinking about a decision. And again, I can tell you that I dip in and out of this, especially when the decision involves a high investment of my time and money. And so I'm not saying be an impulsive decision maker and not think things through and like make a decision on the fly, because that's not what I'm saying. But I do want you to think back right now how much time is being wasted hemming and hawing about something. versus just deciding and then doing the work to make it the right decision. Because today on a clarity call with a client, I was talking with her and I shared with her, and again, if you've ever been on a clarity call with me, you know that's the first thing I say is my job is to help you make a decision, to get clear on what your next decision is. And one of the things that she was saying was like, I have this like deep desire to do something, but I don't know how, or I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And like, that's a decision to believe that you don't know how, and you can't move forward in decision making if you're telling yourself you don't know how. So if you just stop saying, I don't know, and flipped that and said, what do I know right now to make this decision? What's one step I can take to move? So it's like, what are all the little decisions and the little steps instead of like this big, gigantic decision that needs to be made? Like break it down so that you're not stalling and stagnant and stuck. You're making a little decision and then you're moving. You're making another little decision and then you're moving. But if you're trying to decide and you're trying to move forward, you have to stop telling yourself that you don't know. It literally shuts down your brain looking for reasons or possibilities or capabilities. It's like, well, she said she doesn't know, so we're right here. And that was mind blowing for her today. So let's talk about time, not time management. I want to make that distinction clearly because I think time management gets misunderstood. Time management implies the problem is the calendar, that if you just block it better, batch it smarter, wake up earlier, you finally feel like you have enough time. But most of the women I coach don't have a calendar problem. They have a clarity problem. What's going on the calendar? When you're not clear on your priorities, when everything feels equally urgent, when guilt is driving your yeses and fear is driving your nos, you fill every available hour with things that are not actually yours. They're not really the important things. And then you look up at the end of the day and you're wondering, where did it go? Where did all the time go? I know I'm not the only one that's felt this way before, right? Like I can always tell when I'm in this kind of season because I get to the end of the day and I'm like, I know I worked, but I have no idea what I did, right? So I want to describe a different relationship with time that actually feels different because I think we need to be able to picture it before we can move towards it. It feels like margin, not empty hours, but margin. And the difference between a calendar so packed that one unexpected thing sends everything sideways and a rhythm that has enough space built in a life that it can actually happen without crisis. Like I want you to think about that. Creating that margin. It feels like knowing what today is for before the day starts and not trying to fill every hour, every minute with something. It's not a list of 40 things, two or three things that matter most this week, chosen from a really clear, grounded place when you're thinking straight, not reactive, not guilty, not trying to please everyone. So, this is part of the productivity system that I teach my clients, my one on one clients. But when you have margin, it feels like ending the day without the mental residue of everything undone. I'm going to say that again. It feels like ending the day without the mental residue of everything undone or not knowing what you did. I worked really hard today, but I don't know what I did. And this one is big because so many of you are carrying, or women that I work with are carrying a running commentary in your head from the moment that you wake up to the moment that you fall asleep that like everything that you didn't finish, every person that you let down, every task that's still waiting. And that's why you're not sleeping well, because all of that is happening in your head. But when you're clear on your priorities and you've done what actually mattered today, that noise quiets down. You did what you said you were going to do when you said you were going to do it, and the rest can wait. It also feels like presence, which is actually, again, not a time issue. We like to blame everything on time management. It's really interesting. And I'm not saying that we don't all need productivity systems and time management systems. We do. But it's not a time issue. And it's not just an emotional one. Presence is real. And when you're not constantly managing the gap between what you think you should be doing and what you're actually doing and all the mental Olympics that goes along with that, you show up in your real life. The conversation you're having gets your full attention. The meal you're eating gets noticed. The moment you're in actually lands, like you're being where your feet are. And that's what a changed relationship with time looks like. It's not more hours. It's the right relationship with the hours that you already have. How are you spending the time that you already have? Is it on the things that are what your business needs, what your family needs, what you need as the asset, or it's just busyness? Is there margin? So if something happens, it doesn't completely wreck your day. And when you start creating alignment, this is something that I see a lot. When you start creating alignment in your business and in your life, when you're actually winning at work without losing at home, and you come out of the state of the hustle and the performance and the proving and like the do, it's really uncomfortable to have margin. Ask me how I know. And then you start thinking I'm doing it wrong because it shouldn't feel this way. But it's just your body's response. Your body is used to not having margin. If you've not had any margin and you've not had space, white space in your calendar, and then we start creating it, it is totally normal for it to feel uncomfortable and to feel like this is wrong. But this is what it feels like to have it. You're present, you're calm, you're excited, you are feeling significant and seen and purposeful when you change your relationship with time. And what makes the difference is knowing what's the priority, right? Like, what is it for you? When you're clear on your real priorities, not the ones you inherited, not the ones that look good on paper, but the ones that are genuinely true for you in this season, you stop filling your time with other people's urgencies because you're protecting your time. When you protect your time, you protect your profit, you protect your presence, you protect what matters, and you release what doesn't without the guilt because you know this is the priority. You've decided ahead of time this is the priority. And that time that's left actually belongs to you. Quick pause. If you've been listening and you're ready to stop performing your life and start leading it, if you know you're ready to feel better now, not later, and you're ready for support that actually creates sustainable transformation, I have private one-on-one coaching spots open. And inside this coaching, in Illuminate You coaching, we don't guess. We use your unique personality blueprint built from the science-backed personality and performance tool called the ProScan, the one you've heard me talk about here in the podcast. This is used so that every decision, every boundary, every shift is designed specifically around your wiring, not someone else's. This is my aligned success method. It's not hacks. It's not try harder. It's not mindset glitter. It's a real solution. It's rooted in science, strategy, and your unique design. So you can lead your life as the woman you actually are, not the woman others expect you to be. Now is the time. Take the step. Book your clarity call at martinewilliams.com/clarity. All right, back to the episode. So let's talk about what all of this does to your business. We've talked about it a little bit, but specifically how you show up in it. Because here's what I've watched consistently. When a woman is misaligned, when she's running on autopilot or proving energy, making decisions from fear or in the land of indecision, she's filling her schedule with other people's priorities. It shows in her business. Not always in the numbers immediately, but in her energy for sure. In her content, in the way she sells, in the way she leads, in the way she shows up for the people who need what she has. Because she's inconsistent. Not because she's undisciplined, but because she's depleted, trying to be everything to everyone, except for what's priority. She's invisible, not because she doesn't have something to say, but because she doesn't fully trust what she knows. So she hides. And then she's hesitant. not because opportunity isn't right there, but because she doesn't trust herself to execute it. So you can see how this idea of self-trust and being a woman who makes decisions and then moves, how it will impact your consistency, your visibility, and your action. And the market feels all that. And what I mean, like your business, your audience, the people who are buying from you, they feel all of that. Maybe not consciously, but they feel the energy before they process your words. So think about that when you're marketing your business. The energy in which you're marketing is everything. It's transferred. People pick up on the end. They pick up on how you show up and the energy that you say the thing versus what you're actually saying. And you feel it too. You feel like you're faking it. You feel like you're mustering up the motivation to go out there and market. And it becomes a get or a have to versus like being compelled and being bold and being confident. And when you get aligned, your content changes first. Because when you know who you are, when you're operating from your actual strengths and your real convictions, instead of trying to sound like you think you're supposed to sound, your content gets very specific. It's personal, it's magnetic in a way that can't be manufactured. So she stops trying to say the right thing and starts saying the true thing. And the true thing lands every time. Like I was on a clarity call with a client today, and somehow we got to talking about Facebook Lives, and she just started talking about her product, like just talking to me. And I was like, that's all you need to do on a Facebook Live because it was true for her. And it wasn't about saying the right thing or the algorithm thing or what the other person is like. This was true for her. And it landed with me. And I'm like, it's going to land with your people. And that's it. And that changes your selling. Selling from alignment feels completely different from selling from need or pressure. When you're clear on your value, when you trust your process, when you believe in what you're offering because it's built on your story and who you actually are, you ask for the sale without apology. Like when you believe in your product and you believe in your ability to sell the product from a really authentic place, you can sell without apology. You also raise the price because you know what it's worth. You also may take the stage because you know what you bring to the stage. You know what you bring to your Facebook Live. You send the pitch because you know the answer could be yes. That's where you're thinking. The hesitation that used to cost you opportunity, it kind of loses its grips or its grip. And then your leadership changes. When you lead from like your natural style, not from someone else's playbook. I told a client today, you're not a cookie, right? There's no cookie cutter system here. It's like leading your business and leading your life from your playbook, not from what I do, your mentor does, not from what you think leadership is supposed to look like. The people around you feel it when you step into your unique leadership style, which is also something that is revealed in your personality blueprint. Like, what is your natural leadership style? So there's a coherence to you, a groundedness, a sense that you know where you're going and you mean it. And that is attractive. That's attracting people to you. That's being magnetic versus graspy and get and have to and all of that. Like it just feels so different. And I've been in both places. So there's no shame. If you're on the other end, there's no shame there. But this is what builds real followings in real teams and real businesses. Look at the people that you are most attracted to on social media or that you buy from or you do business with. They're real. They're not louder. They're not more. They're just real, right? Like that, I will tell you, that is what people tell me when they come onto a clarity call with me that have been in either on a webinar or maybe they were with me at 31 or they've just been listening to my podcast. People feel that energy. They feel my genuineness. They feel the trust. They feel that I'm real. Like that is one of the things that they say about me all the time is just how real I am. And that's my intention. Like that's how I want to show up. And the more that I love, my strengths and understand my strengths and harness them and use them, how I'm naturally wired, the more I'm able to be that. And it comes through. Like people can feel that. So aligned women are magnetic, not because they're performing or because they're perfect or because they have it all together, but actually because they stopped performing and they started leading their life. They started showing up authentically as themselves. So I want to connect these three things before we close because I think it matters. Decisions, time, and business visibility. They're not separate results. They're actually one result showing up in three places. Because when you trust yourself to decide, you stop losing hours in indecision. When you stop losing hours in indecision, you reclaim your time. And when you reclaim your time, you have the margin, the energy, and the mental clarity to show up in your business with real presence and real confidence to get real results. And all of that, all of it starts with you knowing you. That is your winning strategy. If you're looking for a winning strategy, the winning strategy is you knowing who you are, like in your strengths, and knowing how to sustain yourself while you build the business. And you can't sustain yourself effectively if you don't know who you are and you don't know what gives you energy and what drains your energy and you don't know what is the best productivity system for you based on your personality. So knowing how you're wired, knowing what you actually want, knowing what your real priorities are, and having the courage to protect them, that's the foundation. And everything else is built on top of it. The woman who decides quickly and trusts herself, the woman whose days feel like hers, the woman who shows up in her business and her audience feels it, she's not a different woman than you. She is you with the right foundation underneath her. So if you've been listening all month long, as we've been talking about these in these episodes and in the emails about results, about alignment, about what's possible for you, and you feel something is stirring in you, like a client that came to a clarity call today, she's like, I just have this unrelenting stirring that there's more. And I don't know what to do next, but I know that I can't do it on my own. I've been trying. I want to say something to you directly, if that's you. You already know what you want. And the woman who decides doesn't wait until she's certain. So many of you are confusing clarity with certainty. Uncertainty is part of entrepreneurship. Sorry, not sorry, but you have to be willing to feel uncertainty if you're going to continue to be an entrepreneur. So you're not waiting for certainty. You just decide to move forward with the uncertainty. You decide to be ready. You decide to trust yourself to handle what's coming next. So here's your moment. I have one spot open for Illuminate You coaching, one-to-one private 12-month experience. It's personalized, it's customized to your wiring, your season, your actual life, because we start with your personalized blueprint using the Pro Scan. It's the most clarifying tool that most of my clients say they've ever done. And we build from there. I would say 100% of my clients say it's one of the most clarifying tools they've ever seen. So the first step to that is a clarity call. And that's just a real conversation. There's no pressure. It's just clarity, which after everything we've talked about today, is worth more than you've been giving it. You know the heart of living in indecision. You know the heart of continuing to tell yourself you don't know. You know the heart of continuing to live with no margin. And you know the heart of feeling invisible in your business. And you're choosing that every day you don't decide to do different, to think different, and then to do different. And I invite you to take a new step, to take a different step. and that would be booking a clarity call. So you can go to martinewilliams.com/clarity and book your call. And we're just going to have an honest conversation. So the link is also in the show notes. I hope you've enjoyed these episodes. We will continue on talking about all things mompreneur life and aligned success and helping you to be the most authentic version, the most aligned version of yourself, because that's what creates sustainable success, which is, I know, what you all want. So I'm believing in you always, and I'll catch you on our next episode. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.